Hi peeps! So about 2 years ago I filmed part 1 of this video, which was my makeup lessons that I have learned for myself after 8 years of shopping for makeup. Now we're about to hit 10 years of shopping experience in 2023, and just to specify, I've been buying makeup for a lot longer than 10 years. I've been buying makeup since I was in high school. I've always really enjoyed especially putting on eyeshadows because like the rest of the things weren't even that popular when I was in high school, but that's a different story. Anyway, I have a very long history of purchasing makeup, but the intensity with which I was purchasing makeup and really getting into the whole thing came to its crescendo in 2013 because a lot of you will know this story if you've been around my channel. I've told it before, but maybe some of you are new and you don't know. I actually really got into makeup and like blogging and the YouTube and all of that around 2013 because I got married in 2013, and I adamantly refused to let anyone do my makeup because I've always really enjoyed the process enough myself to not really want to let anyone else do it. So I was looking up tutorials and tips and tricks on how to do something really neutral and elegant on your wedding day, and I came across Marlena's channel, Marlena, the CEO of the now unfortunately no longer existing Makeup Geek, and that's how things kind of like snowballed from there. But that is not at all the point of this video. The point I'm trying to make is that I have gone through a lot of different phases in my makeup purchase history, and obviously along the way I have learned so much about my spending habits, about useful tips and tricks that may be able to help you. I want to emphasize, I'm not trying to tell you how to buy makeup. You go and do whatever the fuck floats your boat. I've just had a couple of epiphany moments about specific purchasing habits that I have noticed for myself over the years, and I thought maybe you will get something out of that because all of a sudden you will have a moment of like, wait, I think I'm actually doing that. And once you discover something like that, you are a lot more aware of it, so that the next time it happens you actively think about, wait, I know why I'm doing this, should I? I will link the first video that I filmed 2 years ago because everything that I said in this video still absolutely stands, but I have added a couple of new things to the list, and I just wanted to share, the part 2 of this whole makeup purchasing experience. These are going to be again numbered lessons 1 through however many I have written down here, but obviously you can also count the ones from the previous video. It's just that I'm going to like start over the counting because I actually don't know where I stopped last time. So lesson number 1 for our part number 2 is actually a point that also came up in the comment section during that same video, which was buying backups specifically of color cosmetics. So think about your favorite eyeshadow palette that was released in the year, I don't know, 2016, and it was a limited edition palette. Let's say it was during the time that the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, which was all the rage in 2016, and it was limited edition when it first came out, it was extremely difficult to get a hold of. You bought that palette, you tried it, you were like, oh my gosh, this is my favorite palette of all time, and you panic bought a backup of that. Huge mistake. Huge mistake. Of course, realistically, there are different sides to the story here. Maybe you're someone who will only ever use the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette every single day, twice a day, and perhaps you will actually pan it within a reasonable amount of time, but even that I doubt, because the matter of fact is, eyeshadows take so incredibly long to actually finish, and finishing a whole product like a colorful eyeshadow or an eyeshadow palette with a number of different eyeshadows in it easily takes many years. So in the meantime, several things have happened. One, your little backup is aging in your drawers, because while powder makeup can last a really long time, it is also not the type of product that is not perishable. It eventually will expire. Time will eventually put its stamp on the quality of that eyeshadow formula. But what is even worse, and something that we have all noticed in the past couple of years, eyeshadow formulas evolve, new brands sprout, new formulas, new textures. You're going to completely change also your style of makeup. Maybe you used to do only rainbow eyeshadow looks, case on point, and then you transitioned into much more like wearable, neutral, sort of colorful, I hate the word wearable, but you know what I mean, type of looks, and all of a sudden you are not going to be using those rainbow palettes that you bought backups of because you simply changed. So you have now purchased a backup that you're not going to be able to do anything with. Of course, nothing is completely black and white. There will be rare exceptions to this rule, but I think as a general rule here, especially for us in this community with the attention span that we have when it comes to like products, it is almost always a complete mistake to buy backups of color cosmetics. Lesson number 2, and I've fallen in the trap of many of those myself, but that is one that I have fallen for many times. Buying the second best thing just because what you wanted was sold out. I'm very curious how many of you have had this experience. You went on Pat McGrath's website to buy something limited edition. Let's take this very last release as an example. She recently released her second edition of the Star Wars release, and she had those little like pot eyeshadows, 3 colors of those, and I want to say one of those colors is still not sold out. Maybe by now they're all sold out, but when I last checked there was only one color which was not sold out, and that was like this like reddish cranberry shade. So you go on the website, you initially wanted to purchase the gold color or you wanted to purchase the anthracite color, but they were sold out, and you were like, well, fuck it, then I'm just going to get the cranberry shade. I think that's a mistake, because at least from my personal experience, whenever I have done that, I have never gotten the same type of satisfaction from my purchase, because deep down I know that I purchased something that is second best, that is not what I really wanted, and I end up not getting much use out of it and eventually decluttering it. So what happened here is that you wasted your money and you were still disappointed by the product that you got, whilst knowing that you're probably going to be disappointed because you never wear cranberry eyeshadows. It's like starting to watch a movie with a really good plot twist, but knowing how it ends. Ooh, this third one. Oh, I fall for that one every single year, especially around the months of like March, end of February, March. Buying makeup out of boredom or because you haven't bought anything in a while. Oh, how I fall for that one every single year. Every single year around the months of January and February, makeup companies slow down, so I slow down, and I end up not really buying anything for the first 2 months of the year. And then in March, I'm on Cult Beauty or on Pat McGrath's website or on Beautylish, and I'm like, I feel like buying something. I haven't really had a dopamine kick in a really long time, and I'd really like to get my high. So then I go and browse these websites, and obviously, if you are a lover of makeup, you are always going to find something that you really wanted to try. Oh, that concealer that everyone's been talking about, or that blush. And that always results in 2 things. 1, you always buy things that you don't need. And 2, things that you're probably eventually going to declutter because you didn't really need in the first place. I've tried to really better myself with that, and I've really tried to like catch myself in the moments where I'm like, oh, I feel like buying makeup. There's really no specific product or new release or anything that I am interested in. I just want to buy new makeup. So then I tried to like slap myself a little bit in the hand and not do it, but it's really hard. Lesson number 4 is another one that I really love. I don't fall for that one anymore. Not anymore. I used to fall for that one all the time in my indie makeup years, but not anymore. Buying unique colors of like color cosmetics. For example, think like a purple blush or a yellow blush that in reality you're never actually going to wear. The amount of times I have bought something just because it is a very unique color without ever realizing that it's probably a color that's not going to work for me. You know, I don't need the full spectrum of colors of blushes because the matter of fact is that they are not all going to work for me. For example, really cool toned hot pinks look like trash on me, but once upon a time I used to think, well, I don't really have a hot pink blush, so I should go and buy one. But at the same time I almost feel like it is inevitable to not go through that phase because it takes a little bit of time, unless you're someone who is extremely good at introspection or knows, you know, what kind of shades suit them really well. It is almost impossible to start off wearing makeup or like getting into makeup, especially in the current market, and know what kind of colors, textures and formulas are going to work best for you. In my opinion, it takes quite some years in order to get to that point, and you are on the off chance going to be buying colors that you're going to end up not looking great in, but I think it's important to realize that and not to have the mentality of buying products just because. Like, don't buy a vibrant purple blush if you know in advance that a vibrant purple blush is just not going to flatter you. Lesson number 5, and also the last but one lesson, is one that I also fall for all the time to this day, very recently, in fact, twice. Buying makeup thinking I'm going to become a different person. And what do I mean by that? I will illustrate that with an example that applies really well to me and probably applies really well to a couple of you, and that is buying pot eyeshadows. For example, when the Auric brand was launched, I purchased Glow Lust. I adore Glow Lust. I use it every single day. But what I also bought is 2 of her pot eyeshadows. The little pots that have the cream eyeshadow on the bottom, that kind of imitate like the Tom Ford eyeshadows actually, that have like the cream pot on the bottom and the little like sparkly topper over top of that. Are these products gorgeous and extremely high quality? Hell yeah, they're fabulous. On the rare occasion that I use them, I am always, you know, amazed at how beautiful they are, and I always feel so guilty for not using them more often. But what do I mean by becoming a different person? For example, Sam Ravendell, the woman who started Auric, she has, you know, moved into doing these extremely simple looks, like maybe one and done eyeshadow looks, and for her a pot eyeshadow on the daily is enough. But it's not for me. On the daily, I'm not going to be pulling for a one eyeshadow look. I'm going to be doing a one eyeshadow look once in a blue moon when I'm in such a hurry that I do not have time to do what I want. But with that said, I just purchased myself one of the Victoria Beckham pots. I just purchased myself one of the pots that Pat McGrath released for the Star Wars collection because I absolutely have to try her pot eyeshadow formula. So no, I'm not going to become a different person. I'm not going to be using these products more than like once in every blue moon, and especially now that I have so many of them, what's going to end up happening is that probably each and every one of them is going to end up being used once a year, tops twice a year. Isn't that horrible, especially for a product that really doesn't age well? Pot eyeshadows are eventually going to dry out, their quality is going to drop, so if you're only using something once or twice a year, then you've definitely wasted your money. And a lot of these are like not a lot of these, all of these are super expensive. I only have the super expensive ones. Do you know what this is? This is the Stila Glitter and Glow fiasco all over again. At least I learned from that fiasco, and I no longer buy liquid eyeshadows, which is why I have not purchased any of the Lisa Eldridge liquid Lurex eyeshadows, even though I have been this close several times. So, you know, maybe someday I will learn my lesson about pot eyeshadows and I will stop buying them, because I'm never going to be that person who does, you know, simple one and done eyeshadow looks on the daily. And if I do eventually become that person, these products will probably have expired by then. And the last lesson that I have learned is buying makeup products. I'm sorry, I'm looking down because I've written all of these on my phone, so I'm just reading them off of my phone. The last lesson is buying something because it is someone else's favorite and you're enamored with how it looks on them, but you know deep down that it's not going to be your personal favorite. I don't really know how else to illustrate it, but again, I'm going to give an example here. So a couple of years ago, one of my favorite people on YouTube, Mia, who has recently started to, you know, dip her toes back into creating YouTube content, and I would be very, very happy to see her come back here on YouTube. But a couple of years ago, Mia couldn't stop talking. She just couldn't shut up about the Nabla Soul Blooming palette. And I had an urge to first of all try Nabla because they are an Italian brand. Everyone always speaks very highly of the quality of their products. Their skin glazing highlighters, bronzers and blushes are one of the most beautiful like powder gel formula on the market in the somewhat more like affordable range of prices. Just stunning. So you can only imagine the amount of enthusiasm that she always demonstrated when she was talking about that palette. So like I got sucked into that enthusiasm and I bought the Soul Blooming palette, almost fully aware of the fact that I don't think it's going to be my favorite, because I didn't really desire it in the first place. Like I look at my Pat McGrath eyeshadows and I am in love, I am enamored, and probably that is the reason some of you are going to end up purchasing these palettes. But also you should think about your own style, your own preferences. If you're, for example, someone who doesn't really like very highly pigmented metallic shades, if you don't like sparkly eyeshadows with a lot of glitter in them, and you're already aware of that and you purchase these palettes, you're definitely going to be disappointed and they're definitely not going to become your favorites. So try to curb your enthusiasm and try to use your common sense, and when people are talking about their favorites, always take a moment to think, if I purchase this product, is it really going to be my favorite though? Or do I already know that this is not the type of product that I'm personally going to enjoy? So I can admire it from afar. I can be very happy for the content creator who has gotten so much joy out of it, but I don't have to participate in the joy. Once again, this video was really fun to film. I really enjoyed sharing all these little lessons that I have learned over the course of the past almost decade at this point. Let me know if there are any, very useful lessons that you have learned and that you would like to share with the rest of us here. I can't wait to hear your thoughts. As usual, thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!